A very exciting palette to share with you. It is, of course, the Naked 2 Basics palette. It's beautiful, just arrived this morning, very nice surprise. It's £22. I'll link where you can get it down below, Debenhams, Beauty Bay, places like that. The packaging looks like this. And this is kind of in the same vein, as I'm sure you know, as the Naked palettes. It kind of goes from, the first one was more on the brown side. This one is more on the kind of, it's a little bit, I guess it's a little bit cooler, you could say. I really like it. Now I'll do a quick comparison of this with the first one. So this is the first one. As you can see, well loved. And I really do use this a lot. It is a very well loved palette of mine. This one actually, it's always been a kind of niggle with me because lots of companies do it, most companies do it. They put black eyeshadow in these little palettes, and I don't use black eyeshadow, I just really don't. Sometimes I'll use it as a liner if I'm being lazy and I don't want to actually, you know, use a proper liner. But most of the time I just don't use black. So I was really pleased to see that unlike the first Naked Basics, the Naked 2 does not have a black in it, because this is more of a grey, which is beautiful. I will definitely use that. So I was really pleased about that. So the first one, as I said, it's a little bit kind of, I want to say kind of warmer, but this one has more of a theme to it, I think. Very much like the Naked 2 palette. It has more of kind of like a greyish theme to it, which I really, really like. And I have to say, I think I prefer the colour selection in the Naked 2 Basics than in the first one, although I'll definitely use them both because I use this all the time. The colours I use in the first one are Naked 2 and the 2 highlighting shades. I use those all the time. Now this one is kind of interesting because it has, it's got a kind of distinct theme to it. As I said, it's kind of the beigey grey theme. I really like it, but I also like the fact that they have put Skimp as the highlighting shade, and I've used that. This is the tutorial that will be coming up after this. I've used Skimp as my highlight today, and I had Skimp in the, I'm going back a while now, the Mariposa palette. You remember it was that tin with a butterfly on it? Many years ago now. I still have it, and I loved the colour. I thought Skimp was beautiful. It's let me just swatch it for you. It's this one on the end. This is kind of the only kind of satiny colour in this palette. The rest of them are matte. So this is Skimp, and it really doesn't look too interesting, but when you put it on, it's kind of like a bit of a buttercream colour. It is really, really pretty. I really like it. It's just there. And I loved it in the Mariposa palette, and I'm really pleased that they have put it in the Naked 2 Basics because it's a shade that I absolutely adore, so I like that. That's the highlighting shade. The colours I used today, I used Frisk, which is this kind of grey here all over the lid, which is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful, and it looks like this. It is just very much a grey. It's a very cool toned grey. Gorgeous shade, something that is a little bit different, I think, for this type of palette, because usually when people come out with nude palettes they tend to be on the more brown side. So that is Frisk, and I used that all over the lid today. I also used Cover, just this one, just next to it. I used that in the outer corner to darken it a bit. And Cover is definitely a warmer kind of concrete shade. So if I just swatch it next to that one, it's definitely, as you can see, much, much warmer swatched. It has like a nice, a very, very slight kind of tawny undertone, which I really like. So I used that at the outer portion. And then I used Primal, which is this one here, as my kind of transition colour. It's quite dark, which I like. I liked that. So I used Primal as kind of a transitioning colour. And this is, once again, it's kind of, what's that colour? It's kind of cement colour. It doesn't sound very appealing, but that's the kind of shade it is, and that's that one there. That's Primal. So I used these today on my eye to create this look. Really love them. As always, you know, I don't need to go into the quality because the quality is always stellar. I think I do prefer this to the first one. I mean, you know, the first one is lovely and I will continue to use it all the time, but as I said, I don't really use Faint, which is the dark brown, and I don't use Crave, so it's just kind of the 4 that I use really, and there's not a huge amount of diversity in these 4 shades here, but you can definitely create different looks with the Naked 2 Basics, and I like that. And I will swatch Undone, which is the dark grey here. I will swatch that so you can see. Definitely not a black, which is good. Definitely not a black, and that's beautiful. So that's that one down the bottom there. The other one that I have not used, and I have not swatched for you, I just realised, is Stark, which is kind of like this peachy colour here. It's a little bit darker than it's coming up on camera, but it's definitely like a peachy tone, which I really like. I think that's gorgeous. So that is Stark. And if I just swatch that up the top, you'll see what I mean. It's kind of a little bit darker than Walk of Shame. But those are the colours. Really, I think it's beautiful. If you have the Naked Basics palette, a lot of people have been saying you don't need this. I completely disagree. I think if you have the original Naked Basics palette, I think you should, you know, obviously you wanted the Naked Basics palette when it first came out, and I really think that you should probably go and get the Naked 2 Basics. I think it's worth the money. £22, that's really quite reasonable for a palette of this calibre. The size of the eyeshadows, let me see. So you get 6 eyeshadows at 1.3 grams a piece, so that's I think it's a really good price for an eyeshadow palette. This one will be used a hell of a lot more than the first one, just because, as I said, there's so many things you can do with it. It's surprising. I also like the fact that the shades come out a little bit deeper than you first imagined that they would. So this is the look I did. I'm very pleased with it. I just kind of winged it. I just thought, right, we'll just see what I come out with, and I actually really, really like it. They've also released, I forgot about this, it was sitting behind me, they've also released with the Naked 2 Basics palette the Naked Basics double-ended brush. And it's really cute, so I had to show it. It's really adorable, and what you do is you just take the end off here. And wrong end, Catherine. And it looks like this. And it just pulls out. It's gorgeous, I think it's really lovely, and it has the Naked Basics kind of logo on the handle there. Really lovely. I didn't use it, but I will do. I wanted to show it kind of clean. But it's a really nice brush. I'm not sure the price of this, so I will find out, and I will definitely link it down below, and the price and whatnot. But yeah, it's a really nice brush. Very, very nice. I like the fact they've kind of come out with something separate, because you've got your fluffy end for putting stuff on the lid, and then this would be perfect for putting things in the crease, and also lining. It's a really interesting kind of shaped brush. I really like that. So yeah, I forgot to mention that, but Naked Basics brush that they've also released with this palette, it's really, really nice, lovely quality. I think if you're kind of more my skin tone, because I'm very pale, I think the Naked 2 Basics will be a little bit more to your liking, because, as I said, this one's kind of a little bit, it's a little bit deep. The darker shades, the 3 darker shades here, are a little bit difficult to work with if you're a little bit paler. You tend to pick up a little bit too much and have to blend it out too much. But with the Naked 2 Basics, I think it's more for the paler among us, and I think for this time of year it's a perfect release, just because we don't always want too much shimmer, and I think this is something that's very easy to just slap on, especially with Stark. I mean, that's a really nice kind of all over lid colour. It's not the colour I used, obviously, I used a darker one, but yeah, for every day I think that would be lovely. So that is the Naked 2 Basics. I've recently discovered that Urban Decay now have a UK website. They never used to. It used to just kind of go to stockists. You used to put in urbandecay.co.uk, and it just used to go to a stockist page for, like, you know, boots and debonums. But now, actually, if you go to urbandecay.co.uk, it says on the press release that that's actually, you know, a site. And when I first came across it, you know, recently, I thought, what? They now have a UK site. Oh, but it's true. It is true. It's on the press release, so it must be true. So I'll link that down below. And yeah, it's kind of nice that we now have a UK official website for Urban Decay, because previously we haven't really. It just took you to a page where you could go to other stockists. So that is the Naked 2 Basics. I think it's beautiful. I will be doing more tutorials. If you have any requests, leave me a comment down below. And yeah, if you want to see how I did this kind of, I have no idea what I'm going to call this. It's kind of like a tawny beige look, then please keep watching.